Hey, this is an unusual time of the day for me to pop in here, but I just wanted to kind of like take out of my system the experience that I just went through um, because I'm feeling a bit, it's a mix between defeated and devastated, and I don't know, some kind of like an overall um, feeling of disbelief. That's what's going on here. And since I'm using these kind of like tiny habits, uh, building as a type of journaling, uh, that's why I'm here. Since this is being my kind of outlet lately, I'm taking advantage that there's no one in the house, and that I can freely kind of like come up and talk here because why not, right? So basically, what happened is that I had scheduled supposedly to be the last interview for this role with what you could potentially be my peers, so kind of like director level on other departments of the agency. These were four different individuals, very nice, very, super polite, busy people, I guess. And I met them today, and right off the bat, we started well, meaning very polite, very super nice people. We kind of have a little bit of a chatter, but I had a structure my whole conversation based on the last three interviews that I had that gave me specific insights on some of the problems that they were having around the whole pipeline gapping strategy with creative execution, misalignments between the client and what is done, what is being done. So I gathered a lot of insights from who I would be reporting to, so to who this position reports to, the people that I would be managing, or this position, reports them to, whatever, the people that this role would be managing, and then human resources. And overall, my understanding is that there are holes all over their pipeline and workflows, and there is a need of some kind of like connective tissue between the other department of the agency and their own workflow. So that was my kind of like mindset at the time of stepping into this interview. And here I am, like 2 minutes after, presenting myself, being hit with a bat on my forehead, like wake up, of people asking me about actually creative direction and ideating and concepting. And that just threw me off, because even though I can do that, absolutely, and I'm actually very good at it, sometimes too much thinking outside of the box, my whole framework for this interview was this idea of closing gaps and being a connector and being a connective tissue, and helping break down the message and bring it down to all of the different channels and work collaboratively. Not like this idea of me ideating and concepting. So it just threw me under the bus. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I I think I was good at responding, kind of like in the spot. How would I address that? I also think that there is this situation that I often see with kind of like senior level directors, that they are so much into their activity or workflow or whatnot, that sometimes they don't really listen to what is being said, and then they keep, kind of like bringing up the same instance, I think there was a little bit of that too. But again, like I was able to take that curveball and then kind of like throw it out. But the feeling of being thrown under the bus and like run over is still present. I was not prepared for it. I don't know how I did navigate it. Apparently, according to, GPT and whatever, I have an 8 out of the 10. And that had me wondering, like, how is it that we are expected to always be a 10? And it's hard, because we not always have the ability to execute on a 10. And sometimes, like sometimes it's just like a little bit of a throw off, and we need to kind of like recompose, re-regulate, just touching on yesterday's theme, regulation, self-regulation, and quickly address all of that in a, kind of like in a different language. And anywho, what I'm thinking now is, I don't know where this is, what was the overall impression. I think there is, like I would welcome an opportunity to maybe readdress that part. It's really at this point I'm thinking like this role has like almost like 4 different layers of what's needed to be done. And I can definitely embody and execute on these 4 layers. It's just this one, it was absolutely unexpected. Like this whole idea of concepting and ideating. I don't even think it's in the job description to that point. But that being said, my challenge now to myself is, how do I withdraw from this situation? How do I just package, let it be, give it to God, and tap into faith that it is what is going to be, and it's fine that it is what is going to be. I don't know, it's very difficult to do that, I guess, especially for someone that is so used to just picking up on cues and kind of like trying to, please everyone. I think that's conditioned from my upbringing, and I'm sure I'll have like a full conversation about this. But anyways, journaling here. I'm in this process of understanding, how do I withdraw from this. I went for a walk. I spoke with my friend on the phone. She's coming to visit. I'm very excited about that. And now I'm going to probably check on what time is it and see if I can have time to run for a coffee or something and pick up my son. And then I think I need to start thinking, and these interviews have really taken a full load on my time. So I really want to start thinking, what is going to be my life? How is going to be my life if this doesn't happen, right? Like, what do I want for my life in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? I think, I think there's a lot of exciting things to come for me. There's a lot of exciting projects to execute on. So that being said, I guess my point here is just this idea of how to tap into faith, is there's any kind of like process or steps that you can follow. That would be great if I could learn that. I'll do a little research about that. But then also, I think a good way of withdrawing, saying like just making this little package, and then what, like, really, how is going to be my life? That's kind of like the question. What is next? Um, I guess that's overall the question. What is next? How am I going to do this? Because I know next is probably, there's this whole thing with the interviewing. I'm over it. Uh, so maybe this new round is just like bearing this idea of me working for a company or an agency, and okay, so what comes? What's I just need to commit to something. That's what I need to do. Anyways, that was about it. Thank you. These journaling mini sessions are awesome. Thank you so much, God, for everything.